I'm not jealous because I don't want what you have. I'm upset that I'm not doing it with me.
Yeah.
Like, we're not working together. How can we make money together?
You mean, how can you take a percentage of her profits? Right? Because when
Clock it.
you were mad that Shekinah was getting her opportunities elsewhere, but the reason why you want her there is, let's be real, you're a part of the check. Like, she's, you know what I mean? Like, if Shekinah gets picked up under your business, you're going to take a percentage. No one just gives handouts.
This the kind of beat the go, this the kind of beat the go, this the kind of beat the go, rock, top, top.
Welcome back to another episode of the Petty Headquarters. I'm your host, Tiana Luck, and this is
Jessie Strange,
my lovely co-host, and we are back at again with another video.
Oh, I thought you were going to say another motherfucking video.
Oh, no, because I guess it's not baddies.
True.
This is very different.
Yes.
Okay. So today we are, this is something that has been on the list for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
When we were on our little break, aka hiatus, we had saw this surface on the internet, and we had a lot of things to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're going to be talking about B Simone's interview with her best friend that was I guess a podcast episode.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really say an interview, but it was an episode with her best friend that basically is all about her and her coming into this new age and, you know, talking about her discovery with herself through like fasting and just learning what she needed to let go of and just growing within this new era of herself. Pretty much.
I like how they describe it as seasons. This is a new season of herself, I guess, whatever transition she's going through at the moment.
Right, exactly. So obviously in this episode, she speaks of those things and she speaks about what she's going through. And she also, of course, promotes her app that she's coming out with, or that's already out, I believe. But this clearly went viral on the internet for some of the things that had transpired between her and her friend during this episode. And, you know, when I saw it, we've spoken about B Simone back in the day. And I remember when we spoke about B Simone, you had everybody roasting us in the comments.
Yeah.
People talking about her looks, people practically threatening us,
Yeah.
people just talking shit like crazy.
And the thing is that she has a lot of Christian, Catholic, whatever the religious followers. That's
right.
The religious followers. And they were just not acting very
They were
holy.
not acting very fucking holy or religious, okay? So I just think it's so interesting that back then, y'all were so quick to attack us for B Simone, but now y'all are seeing the same fucking thing that we already spoke about years ago. Well, a year ago? We already spoke about that, right? And we've already noticed that. And we've spoken about that amongst ourselves. So I just think it's so funny now that one thing goes viral. You see kind of like how she was as a person, how she kind of still continues to be, whether she realizes it or not. And now everyone wants to hop on the We Hate B Simone wave.
Really? She got a lot of backlash from that?
She got a lot of backlash for that. There's a lot of people talking shit about her. Even on that video on YouTube, people in the comments are like calling her out on her behavior, you know, and even calling her best friend out as well. Shekinah, I think her name is. And I just think it's so interesting that when we were saying it, we were haters who were broke, right? But now you guys are seeing her for who she really is. And now all these things are coming out, like even a clip surfaced about how she was towards V, I'm Pretty V, who she used to be like really cool with. They used to make a lot of content together. And there was a scene where she brought up an incident on a reality TV show that they were on together in front of all these other, you know, celebrities and influential popular people. She brought up an incident where V took a shit on herself and on the floor. And B Simone, being the annoying comedian that she thought she had to show up to be, which is something she had said in this interview, she blew up her spot in front of everybody.
Oh,
V
my
told
God.
her, and we can pull up that clip too, so you know what we're talking about.
Never have I ever. Oh, I can't say that because I did that.
Yeah, because she my floor.
Oh my God.
She did. I thought it was an almond, and I was cleaning up, and it was a piece of poop.
What happened?
Are you serious right now? You know. So at the end of it, for you to repeat that.
It's been on YouTube for 3 years. You're not that mad, bro.
You shouldn't have to say that.
It was the size of an almond. It was so gross.
Oh. You see how she gassing it?
You brought it up. Booty.
You had to tell people that.
Shut up, B.
No, I'm being dead ass. You had to tell people that if I or not.
It's on YouTube, bro.
It don't matter.
It has 1 million views.
What happened was, I went to B Simone's house and I had to doo-doo. So my thing is, I doo-dooed in the toilet bowl, but a little pet came out my booty and it went on her ground. So for her to drag it in front of all these legends, this is embarrassing, but I would never do that. I don't do those games.
I'm definitely upset that you brought that up right now.
Bina.
I'm being dead ass.
Get over it.
It doesn't matter.
She on my floor.
And you keep saying it again, and I already told you that I'm being dead ass. Because you had to tell people that. So let's move to the next subject.
It's still on YouTube,
It doesn't matter.
Oh.
So let's talk another subject before I get serious.
Okay.
With you.
Okay. Let's not get aggressive.
V told her, why would you say that in front of all these people? You know, I didn't want you to say that. I didn't appreciate it. And then B Simone was like, so what's the problem? What's the problem? So what? Like being such a bitch, okay? Because she's like that to a lot of her friends, which is why her and her friends always fall out, okay? Mm-hmm. And this is the same thing we spoke about when your alleged friend passed away, but then you were making money off of the situation by putting yourself grieving on your close friends for people to see. Now, mind you, she was charging $10 a month or something for her close friends.
Right.
So it's interesting to me that you claim to be this holier than thou person, but you're doing shit like that. And when we called it out, and when that was a clip, people were coming for us like crazy.
Yeah.
And coming for us like crazy. Now you're seeing who she is.
And now I do want to say, though, it wasn't really our people like who are subscribed to us, who constantly support the podcast. It wasn't those people talking shit. Maybe some of y'all had an opinion, but most of the people were these fucking strangers from the internet because the video went viral. Not viral, it just caught attraction.
It caught traction.
Yeah, it caught traction. And then, just saw so many people just hating for no reason because we criticized somebody that they had a parasocial relationship with. But I do want to interrupt and say, for those of you who don't know, we did cover a podcast, I guess an episode on B Simone. What was it, a year ago, like you said? Mm-hmm. So definitely go check it out. And I don't know who's returning or who's here, but we also like to welcome you to the Petty headquarters because we totally forgot to welcome you.
We totally forgot to.
And thank the people who are returning.
Yes, and thank the new people that are finding us. Welcome to the Petty headquarters. Like you said, we are a pop culture podcast that specializes in, Zeus Network, baddies drama, and occasionally celebrity drama, right? Mm-hmm. And like other trending topics. And of course, we had to hop on this one because, again, like you said, we made this video a year ago and got so much backlash for it. And thank God that we have thick skin and that didn't deter us from continuing to do what we were doing, because I feel like anyone else that was softer would be like, oh my God, I'm getting all this hate. I don't want to do it no more.
Yeah, it was like one of our first few episodes, wasn't it?
Yeah, like when we first, people were like, who are these girls? Saying that I look like a monkey, saying all this shit that you look like a fucking Mexican gay bitch or some weird, some out of pocket shit, which I'm like, okay, I even clap back at some of the comments too, but it's like, now I learned that once it's so much like that, you got to just ignore it and keep pushing.
100%. But yeah, I mean, I did see this circulating. I did see B Simone had made a very insensitive comment about how, I guess just not insensitive, but unaware of what she's saying as far as, oh, now I got a budget. I got to shop at H&M. Girl, I'm not like this. And I saw that and I was like, my God, this lady is so funny. She's so deaf, tone deaf to what she says. And it's, I don't know. I don't think that's changed. I mean, it looks different in her different seasons that she likes to describe, but to me, it doesn't really seem different as far as the behavior, the core behaviors that make you that person.
Right. I agree. So let's just get into this episode because we watched the entire episode. It was an hour and change. So we can actually dive into this and dissect it I guess, accurately to a sense. So this episode starts off, and I'm not gonna lie, the first thing I noticed immediately about this episode is that it feeds her narcissism.
Oh yeah, she's definitely a narcissist.
Extremely narcissistic, and we see it show up in so many ways throughout the episode. And I just think it's so interesting how Shekinah is her best friend, but you fell out with all of your other friends because what? They would tell you about yourself. They would actually say, I didn't like that you did this. Or, you know, there was even another previous episode that she used to have a podcast with her other best friend. They fell out. And even that clip went viral, and it showed that her friend was telling her stuff that she didn't like that she was doing. And B Simone just had a very apathetic attitude, didn't really care, and was just like, oh, okay. So, like, you know, and that's just not how you treat a friend.
Right.
She's not very receptive to when people have criticism of her. But Shekinah, she's more receptive because Shekinah's a people pleaser, as you can tell when you watch the episode. And she's very nice.
She's
a very great person, great, sincere, pure soul, and she uplifts B Simone. And I feel like B Simone loves that because throughout the episode, she's like, tell me more about me. What about me? What do you think about me? Like, what do you think about, like, the whole time, the whole episode was just about B Simone being uplifted. And you know, it really made me realize everything that we said about her a year ago, it still stands.
Right. So the episode actually starts off with her and Shekinah sitting on the couch, and, you know, they're talking about just like B Simone is entering a new era. They talk about the BET award, like the carpet, and how, you know, B Simone is going through a transition where, you know, she wanted to go out and party, but instead she stood home, and now they're filming this podcast because that was just a couple of hours ago. And she wants to work, and how, you know, she's accepting that, and how I guess they got into the conversation of confidence and how Shekinah said that B Simone, it felt like she would overcompensate a lot for her quote unquote confidence, but it didn't stem from real confidence, and it stemmed from insecurity. And so I think that's kind of like what they start off talking about, which I thought was interesting because I was like, you know, I can see that. I feel like that's the type of person B Simone has always been, which is why that example of her outing her friend as, you know, trying to be funny, it's an overcompensation for you feeling small. You want to be seen. And in that, you would rather throw your friends under the bus to be validated by these higher ups rather than thinking about your core friendships and how you're affecting them. Because the thing about B Simone is that everything about her career up until quote unquote this point, I would say, has been motivated by money. Like everything is how can I push forward, a grifter, you would say. Like she'll just hop on any wave to gain traction and to be controversial. Like the way she started, if any of you guys don't remember, she started off as a content creator who wanted to get a man. And that was her identity for a long time, was just getting a man and how to get a man, and judging people, judging men who work the 9 to 5, you know, and talking down about, I didn't mean it like this, but, you know, because she got backlash for it. But, you know, I guess that's how, and she even had her own show on Zeus Network, you know, a dating show. So that kind of became
my boyfriend. Yep.
Yeah, that kind of became her identity. So I can see that insecurity because I just feel like, does she even know who she is? Because she's always grifting to whatever's next.
And then her like allegedly trying to steal the baby. Like we even talked about that in that episode where we did a whole deep dive on her. So definitely check that episode out. So one of the things that she says in this episode, especially after talking about how she wants to just keep working and she wants to be legendary, she says that she wants to be an icon like Jamie Foxx and Mariah Carey. And that was one thing that just really like stood out to me. Okay, like it's great to have aspirations and it's great to have dreams, but I guess you can just see where a little bit of the narcissism comes in, like as she's talking about this, because she's comparing herself to like literal icons for real, like legends. And, you know, and I get that her goals and her dreams are high, But as it gets deeper, you can just kind of see how like, okay, that's great. But do you also care about the people that are around you? Do you also care about the present? Do you care about your family? Because even before, she was saying her and her family fell out. And I just think it's interesting that like, you know, you in this episode, it's very all about self. It's very all about self-centered-ish stuff. And I just wonder, why was Shekinah there? Because it seemed like Shekinah was there to literally just uplift her. And that was the whole point of the episode.
Honestly, I think the whole point of the episode was, yes, Shekinah is definitely the perfect co-host for B Simone in that aspect of things, but also to launch her app.
Literally was the whole point.
Now let's talk about that, because
literally was the whole point.
What I thought was interesting, I want to kind of tell you guys a little bit more of what she talked about before I give you my thoughts on that. But, you know, she does talk about how she's been on 10 days of fasting.
Yep.
And
water fast.
And that she's asking God, you know,
some
she's
spiritual answers.
Yeah, some guidance. And
Yep.
she doesn't know why. And she thinks like she can even go more than 10 days. And I understand that 100%. She keeps reassuring people that she's not starving herself, that this is a spiritual thing. And I understand that wholeheartedly, of going through a water fast like that. But I think it's funny because at some point, I think Shekinah's talking about, oh, are you going through a spiritual transition right now? Are you more in the spiritual realm now or whatever? And then B Simone somehow ends up talking. I don't even remember how. It was so sudden. Ends up getting sensitive and talking about her finances and how she's struggling financially, that she's budgeting. She's never been the type to budget. And now she's budgeting. She's shopping at H&M. She's, doing regular people stuff. And it made her cry. And you could see her being really upset by it, choked up.
Just my finances. Like, the budgeting, you see how I am nitpicking every little thing. I've never been like that. We were in Bloomingdale's yesterday. I'm like, we have to go to H&M.
Yeah.
Like I notice it in me now, just nitpicking. And it's not even, I just don't have it like to spend the liquid. Yeah. I'm used to having liquid. I'm used to seeing a certain amount in my account.
I think it was at that point that really that was like, oh, that's it. That's why you're here. That's why you're starting the podcast again. That's why you're with your friend Shekinah here, because you need a source of income. And these are your sources that you've laid out throughout your career that you have the ability to do, because she's a hard worker, and I will never take that away from B Simone. Right. She is very resilient to cancel culture, because she's been canceled many times, and because she's such a hustler and has diverted herself into so many avenues, she has the ability to come back whenever she wants. But I think she's a prime example of this is what it looks like when you start things disingenuous, right? Like, I don't know. This goes back to the grifter thing. So when she was talking about her finances, I guess this is where that's the part that went viral. And
it was two parts that went viral. It was that part and Shekinah saying that, you weren't really the best friend to me.
Yes.
And, I was, home, whatever. She was going home food stamps, and she was going through it, single mother, and B Simone never helped her.
Right. So B Simone is talking about her finances, and then she's like, she had a rough year. And then that's when Shekinah's like, yeah, this year has been a learning lesson for me too. Because people think that me, as someone who's friends with someone who's famous, that you're okay, but you're not. And then she talks about how she lost her job. She lost her health insurance. She went on food stamps. She was single mom, like you said, all went through a lot of things. And not once did B Simone help her.
Being a best friend with a celebrity, everybody thinks that, because you're connected to this person, then your life is just as grand as theirs, or you got
it, or they helping you.
Baby, didn't have a job, living with my parents, a single mom. All this happened to me this past year.
Jesus.
And then it's like, to not have resentment in my heart towards you, because I saw you do this for other people. I saw you give a check to somebody to help them through whatever they went through. And it's like, God, like, nobody didn't give me a handout, but guess what? That wasn't your responsibility.
in that same scene, B Simone mentions how she's paid for divorces. She's given people money. She's, you know, done a lot of things like to help men too. Like she's paid for men. Like she was some sugar mama, right? But she not once helped her friend. And even Shekinah said, now, how did you think that makes me feel as your friend? And then they get into that conversation, and B Simone's response to that, so to speak, was like, well, she's had many bad friends and didn't know who to trust. And so she treated Shekinah that way, but then she realized that no, Shekinah actually deserves that because she's someone of a pure heart and soul. But to me, honestly, you know, I don't really buy it. I don't buy it. What it sounds like to me is that you keep Shekinah around because she uplifts you.
But also, I want to, now I remember the thought that I had before. I want to backtrack to yes, 100%. I want to say,
so back to the finances.
Back to the finances. This lady, B Simone, is upset that she's struggling financially because she spent the last 2 years investing in an app that she is now, that episode in that podcast was meant to promote that day.
Yep.
So I want you to understand that. I want you to take a second and really think about how tone deaf this is. I am struggling financially because I spent the last 2 years of putting my money to work and invest in an app that eventually could possibly, potentially come back and feed me 10 times more.
Right.
When there are people who literally, like your friend, was relying on government assistance, by the way, who they're struggling financially because they have nothing, not because they invested everything they had into something that could possibly turn around one day and make it better. No, because they have nothing. But you're so fucking out of touch with reality that you're the type of person that says, yeah, I don't date people who were men that work 9 to 5. Yeah, my best friend passed away. She didn't intentionally say that, but she basically insinuated, if you want to see me more, and basically go subscribe to my close friends. You know what I mean? The type of person that cries about shopping at H&M because you put your savings into an app that you came back after 2 months or something of not uploading to promote.
Yep.
But I'm supposed to believe you're this good person?
Yep.
It's so fucking fucked up. And like you said, you know, she has Shekinah there because she talks, she's empathetic. Shekinah is
talking love into this woman.
Yes.
Like she is saying to her, whatever you say is going to happen. You have the power. God has given you the power. You know, Shekinah is really such a great spirit and a great friend. And those are the people that get taken advantage of. 100%. And it really pisses me off because I feel like even though we didn't see it, you know, so abrasive and upfront in our faces on camera, me knowing how to read the room, I can still see that, you know, B Simone has tendencies to gaslight, to probably manipulate Shekinah, you know, to be that person that's abusive because there is a power dynamic. Even her saying that she was jealous and upset that she would work with other people, even though B Simone never cared to give her a dime, knowing that your own best friend was struggling, but you're out here paying for divorces. You're out here giving money to men.
Recently, I have this opportunity and I called you and I told you about it. And you were just like, okay. And you called me back.
I called her right back, y'all. I was so convicted. I was so convicted.
You were like, I didn't like how I felt when you told me that. And I was like, what do you mean? You were like, I don't know what it is. I'm talking this out in real time. And I said, did you feel jealous? And you were like, I don't think I feel jealous.
I'm not jealous because I don't want what you have. I'm sad and I'm angry and I'm upset that I'm not doing it with me.
Yeah.
Like we're not working together.
Yeah.
I want to work with you. I want to put you on. I'm putting you in position. I like doing it together.
You do.
How can we do this together? How can we make money together?
So now, why do you think those people that treated you like shit deserved it, but the best friend that spoke love into you didn't deserve it?
Right. And did more than just that because, there's at some point, right? Shekinah's talking about how things started to turn around for her. She started getting opportunity, and B Simone said that she felt not good in her heart.
Yep.
And Shekinah, being such a pure heart, was like, you were jealous. And she's like, I don't know if it was jealousy. She's like, but eventually they kind of admit, I think it's jealousy.
She was like, I was mad you weren't doing it with me. But it goes back to her narcissism. Again, you want to be seen like you're this savior when in reality, you're not. You use people. And right now you're using Shekinah because you know that what you get from Shekinah is emotional support. And your ego is fucking fueled. She fuels your ego so much. That's why you like her around. Because all your other friends that you fell out with, when they told you about yourself, when they criticized you, when they told you, hey, you hurt me, I didn't like what you did, you took it personal and you were selfish and you made it about yourself. But because Shekinah speaks to you in a way that makes you the center of attention, you love that and you eat it up. And this is exactly what I was saying about B Simone a year ago. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. And I don't care if you found God now. I don't care what path you're going through. I really don't. Because to be honest, watching this episode, I can give her a little credit to say that she has learned that in the past she was overcompensating and now she needs to rebrand, right? I can give her that. However, she's still the same person that profited off of her friend's death years ago. How is this episode any different? She knew it would go viral. She knew she was doing this to promote her app. She knew Shekinah would speak love into her. She knew all of these things would happen. And even her saying how she would get jealous when Shekinah had a boyfriend. These are very key characteristics and people that are narcissistic and a little abusive. It doesn't always have to be physically abusive. You can be emotionally abusive. And that's what B Simone is. And I really wish that people would see through that because I feel like her faithful followers in Christ don't see through that. Like even her, every 2 seconds when she's cursing and she's like, oh, sorry, Lord. Girl, just stop. Like, just stop trying to keep up with this. Just stop. Because you're doing too much.
Yeah, well, I think that also has to do with this phenomenon of parasocial relationships, right? Like, I think that B Simone does a really good job. And listen, I'm no hater. I like to see good women, like genuine women succeed in business. And I really wish that B Simone, would be a better person because honestly, I can give her so many things. There's so many nice things I can say. And I can say that I admire about her. Like I said, her resilience to continue going through all that hate is pretty powerful. A lot of people, she talks about going from that 9 to 5 controversy. She went from making $1 million a month to $10,000 a month the next month. Like she lost a lot of brand deals for that. Wow. And lost and it affected her money, but yet she's still, here. She's still here, still fighting through. So it's like,
that's a huge loss.
But the thing she also does really well in is making her audience feel like they have this parasocial relationship as far as like her quote unquote transparency, where she says things that maybe sometimes people are afraid to say, which you can argue it's to her, it's tone deaf, but it's also honest.
She's built a community, right? Like even with her close friends, I think it's a great idea, right? She's built a community off that. Also with this app, how it's invitation only. Like that.
Well, that's because it's beta right now.
Exactly. But I'm just saying the way she phrases it makes people feel like, oh, it's exclusive to them.
Yes.
And like her community and how they're a part of the community. Going back to the parasocial relationship, that's how she makes her audience feels. And she does a great job by marketing that. So I will
Which is scary.
Right. I will give her her props, but this is what I'm saying. I can give her her props and still see through the bullshit and see through the emotional manipulation that she tends to do to not only her friends, but also her fans.
100%.
And her fans eat it up every time. And at the end of the day, make your coin, I guess, right? It's not me. I'm not a part of that fan base. It's them. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. Free will. But I'm just saying that this is something that I will always call out.
I do want to talk about the faith aspect of things, right? Because B Simone, originally her fans, well, not her fans, people had criticized her for kind of like, again, grifting towards this God when people felt like she wasn't genuinely someone who is a follower of God, just using God as like, for marketing and to appeal to an audience. And I think it's funny because as, you know, this whole podcast, they're talking about the faith and God's importance in B Simone's life, going through a spiritual awakening. And then you hear the story about how her friend also going through hard times and going through her own lessons in life. And Shekinah can understand, like she literally said in reflection, like, maybe those are the things that I needed to go through to become and be where I'm at now.
Right.
And that's God teaching you that, right? Like, you know, you can have this access, but not everyone is going to give a helping hand.
Right.
So you must always protect yourself and do it on your own. But also I feel like God played an important role on B Simone more than what she thinks, because she's thinking, oh, look, God, answer. I need a fast and just help me, guide me. But I think God played a bigger role that she's not very aware of yet, in a sense of him teaching her to be careful with the things you say in life, because you never know when you'll be there.
Now
when
you
she was
shop at H&M, bitch.
When she was making money and having the book sales and paying for $10, when everybody had money in this world to give out, they were paying her subscriptions.
Yep.
All these rich folks were seeing so much money come in because their consumers had a lot of money to spend. And now that economy is hard, things are happening, life, not everybody's spending as much as they were back then. She's over here talking about, you know, I have to budget. I never had to do that before. What? That sounds crazy. You never had to budget even at that much money. It's crazy, first of all. That means you don't have financial education.
Right.
Because you should always budget.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Right. And then she's always making uneducated financial decisions.
Right.
But she's good at making money, but not good at maintaining money or making her money make money.
Right.
Because there are people like that.
Yeah.
They're good at making money, like Krishan, but doesn't know how to put her money to work. And that's what business people do, right? So anyways, going back to, I think this is God teaching you that. Like, you be careful, because look, and now people were criticizing her like, this is the same girl that, you know, did this and said this about people and the working people and etc., judging other people for having less. And she says that her intentions are coming from a place of like, not the 9-to-5 people who like it there, but more so in the fact that people who are dreamers but don't want to get what they want to get. But it's the lack of understanding that some people are stuck at their job because they have no other choice. No other choice. Survival. That's literally between you and feeding yourself.
Right.
You know, but that goes back to, I think that's just interesting.
Then when kids are involved, like, it's a whole other dynamic, and she doesn't have kids.
Right.
That's
exactly.
another thing.
Exactly. So I feel like, you know, again, maybe she's changing and maybe for the better, but when someone can acknowledge that they're so self-centered and I guess have narcissistic traits, I mean, is there really change? It just looks prettier, or it looks lighter.
That's what I'm saying, because, like, you know, she's talking about her spiritual journey, you know, doing the water fasting, but then also she mentions that she's been sober and celibate for 2 years.
Yes.
And, you know, that's another thing that she speaks about. So it's like, I think that she's in a process of cleansing her body.
True.
And in the process of cleansing your body, you're gonna learn more about yourself in terms of discipline. She talks about how she didn't have that discipline, and now she's learning to have that discipline, which I can see, because going back to what you were saying, she was never budgeting. So that already tells me that, yeah, you were good at making money, but you didn't even have the discipline to, like, learn how to keep or maintain your money. You're just splurging, right? Now you have to shop at H&M, and now you were dead serious about that, crying and all that, where everybody on the internet did not take you seriously, bitch, because it's like, these are real people that are watching you. And you fucking forget that real people are watching you. Going back to what you said about her being out of touch. So yeah, it may look prettier now. She's probably on her way. You know, that's what this cleanse is for, and getting the answers. But to be honest, it really still feels like, I just feel like once a narcissist, you're a narcissist.
And then I also feel like, is it genuine when they talk about this part of how B Simone wanted to bring the Bible to the red carpet.
Yes, to the award show.
To the award show as a prop for her outfit.
Yes.
And I thought it was interesting because it's like, she's like, oh, well, I'm going through this spiritual, then I felt it. God was telling me to do it. And then Shekinah was like, was it really God?
Right.
And like, where's the intentions coming from? Because she was not with it. She was like, I'll get you a small little pocket one if you want.
Yes.
But she's like, I don't think it's a good idea, girl. And in all, she ended up not doing it. But it's funny because B Simone's like, oh, you know, the first thing she said was, no one's ever done it before.
Yes.
Then she's like, but this is the spiritual path that I'm on. And it's like, girl, you're literally, again, going back to the same thing. We'll do anything for controversy or for motion or for to be talked about, to stand out.
And that's really where it was coming from.
Right.
So for her to say, oh, you know, I'm on this journey and I want people to know that. And, you know, it's still you saying in the same breath that no one's done it before is very telling that you're doing it to catch some virality, to catch some traction, to promote yourself. And that's what it comes off as. And that's what people were going to see it as, which is what Shekinah was trying to let her know. Like, it's going to look like you're mocking.
Yes.
Christ, you know, and that's even what B Simone had admitted to. She's like, yeah, you're right. But at the same time, it's like, if people can show up in all these outlandish stuff, why can't I show up with the Bible? You know, which, I mean, I didn't really know what to say to that. I mean, yeah, sure, people do show up with outlandish stuff, but like, really?
You could be like Lil Nas X. He had the same mentality, and look what happened to his career.
Exactly.
Look what happened in his career.
She needs to learn. She needs to learn. And she seems like she's not really learning.
Correct.
Like she's learning, but not really learning. And I guess that's what Shekinah is there for, because Shekinah is helping her, you know, come back, take a step back and realize this might not be the best idea. And, you know, shout out to her.
Yeah.
You know, this whole episode showed me that she's a really good person. And, you know, I say this all the time. I'm not Jesus. So, and she kind of emulates that, you know, as in it doesn't matter what you do to her. She will always be there for you. And that's why B Simone likes her so much.
Yeah.
Because she knows that out of everything, out of all her friends, if everyone else leaves, Shekinah will still be there.
I mean, yeah, after not helping her and her still being there and still like her uplifting,
yeah,
Shekinah
talking
uplifting
so
her.
much light and love into her. Even at some point, there's a point where B Simone's like, tell me more about me. Tell me about that. And the whole time, all of her questions to Shekinah were based around her.
Yeah.
She not once really asked anything about Shekinah. We didn't really speak about Shekinah. It was just her asking her friend about herself.
In all fairness, it is her podcast, but I do want to come back to intentions again, because she's here in this podcast right now because she's financially struggling and needed to rebrand and needed to push this app that she invested so much money in, because if not, she will lose all that money and she can't afford that. But I think she also realizes that those people, by being such a controversial person, you don't have that core base.
Right.
So I think this is also a part of a rebrand, like you said. And it seems, again, intentional, knowing damn well that people aren't going to support someone who's being obnoxious, putting people down, and being this controversial figure. So now she's going to, you know, lean into, and part of it could be true. Like there could be some truth in her spiritual growth. I can see that. But I feel like where the motivation comes from, what? Your financial situation, would you still be on this path if you weren't financially struggling? Where's the genuine intention there? Because I don't think she would be.
Nope.
I think she would still go spiral until it did come crashing down. But I feel like the only reason why she's here to begin with is because her finances are making her.
Right.
I don't know if it's, and people could argue that you need to go through these situations to end up being in that person, or to end up, you know, some people need to learn that way, right? Some people do. But I hope that, like, right now, I think it's too soon to gauge the intention. Because I feel like, again, her being so open about her needing to push this app because she's financially invested in so much into it, like, it just makes it feel like, so that's why you're here?
That's exactly why. That was the whole point of this episode.
I think B Simone needs to understand that there's just some things you just don't need to say in public. In my opinion. I feel like,
well, that was the point.
You don't need to say that.
It needed to be public so that she can get her app out to the public. What was it? The LTT app? It was like that.
Yeah. No, that, I don't know. But
that's what it was called. And basically, her whole goal is like making other women millionaires. And she says that she's trying to be the next Tyler Perry. So it seems like this app will be a platform for other women to help them with their financial goals and make them become millionaires. And she even talks about having other women working for her where like they can also be rich like her. And
I just don't trust her.
I don't trust it either. Like the way that she was speaking, it was kind of vague because like you said, the app is still in beta right now. It's in its testing phase. And we don't really know much. It's like she mentioned it, but she didn't want to speak too much on it in this episode. But that's essentially what she said about it. But it sounds like one of those things where it's like people try to sell you a get rich quick scheme type thing. And that's where I was just like, girl, like, and it's definitely going to make her rich. But what is that going to say about all the other women that sign up for this? Because she makes it, you know, she phrases it in a way where it's like pro women, women empowerment, but you didn't really say much about it. But knowing her people, how it's invitation only and how she spoke about it, they're going to want to sign up, right? You have a following. I feel like that's like the biggest thing to being like, one of the biggest things to being like really successful. Get your following and scam your fucking followers. And that's what a lot of these fucking influencers do. That's what these successful people do. That's what they all do. Mm-hmm. So I won't be surprised if her app doesn't do well, or maybe it will. Maybe it will. Like, we don't know anything about it.
Yeah, and I feel like you always got to think about how people do business at the end of the day, because if you have somebody who has a reputation, for example, the Austin McBroom from the Ace Family, the YouTuber, he had a notorious reputation on scamming his audience, scamming the people he worked with, owing people money, playing with debt, and it essentially ended up going bankrupt, like for real. And it was just moving debt, basically. It was moving debt. Yo. And it's like, just because they're famous doesn't mean they were born with a fucking business background, doesn't mean that they had parents that taught them all about business. So like, these are regular people. You got to understand that. These are, it could be you. You know what I mean? Listening right now, it could literally be you, the next content creator. Now you're coming up with this idea and it's like, you may not know everything. So again, but going based off of B Simone's reputation, I'd be very weary about working with
That's
her.
what I'm saying. Like, based off of the things that she's done, how she's constantly stolen from people, like hasn't been genuine. Like, we talked about that in our other episode where we covered her like a year ago. Like, you're stealing people's work. You're stealing. You literally have a history of stealing, you and your friends. Mm-hmm. Okay. And now you telling me you're not going to steal again or steal from your fans. Like, I just don't get it. Like,
and I feel like our guards up with B Simone is fair. Right. It's not like it's been 3 years now and you see the change. This is fairly new. And just like anything, right? I used to drink. And then when I stopped drinking, everybody around me was like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And they would just wait for me to fucking drink. And it would piss me off. Because it's like, I told you I was going to stop drinking. But they had every right to feel that way, because every time I said I was going to stop drinking before, I didn't. And they would fucking catch me in the same thing. So I feel like with the B Simone thing, it's fair right now for us to be critical and be guards up around her, because it's too soon to say that it's growth. Is she on the right path? I hope so. It looks like it. But does that mean, is it going to be sustainable? Is she going to continue that path, or is it just going to be that path until she gains her money back and then she reverts right back to being a piece of shit?
Right. That's what I think is going to happen. But then again, like you said, you never know. Maybe she is on this, like she's on the start, right? Like, I mean,
very beginning.
It's still the beginning, like 2 years, like sober, like it's, you know what I mean? Like, that's great. So I commend her, but also it's like, no, you know? So I don't know. Like, I feel like I saw this interview and there were moments where I can empathize with her, but then there are moments where I'm like, yo, are you still gonna be the same piece of shit? Because I don't like people like that. And I know there's someone for everybody in terms of friends and relationships, but like, you're abusing Shekinah. Like, I don't care. You may be speaking nice to her, but that emotional manipulation is just so ugly to me. And Shekinah, being such a people pleaser, probably won't even notice it, or just be like, no, she just needs help. Yeah. I can help her. I can fix her. It's weird though. Like, even her talking about she would get jealous because she would be with her boyfriend and not be hanging out with her. It's like, she has a life. She doesn't revolve around you. And that's how B Simone treats Shekinah. Like, she revolves around her. I don't like that. That is extremely selfish. And there were times where Shekinah was trying to call her a selfish friend.
Yes, 100%.
But she was trying to be nice and patient with her words. But you can tell at the end of the day, that's really what it is. You're a selfish friend.
Yeah.
And B Simone was just kind of like, I don't even know. She kind of admitted it, but didn't really say too much about it. But she knew, like, yeah, there are moments where I am a selfish friend, you know? And I feel like that episode was obviously not only to promote her app, even though it was, but it was for them to kind of like come together and like resolve like their differences, because there was kind of, you know, built up stuff that they had going on between them that it seemed like they had gotten over now, which that's why they were talking about it. They were more comfortable to talk about it now, because I'm sure years ago they weren't. So I don't know. I just feel like B Simone, I don't know. So there's a comment on this video that I wanted to share. And so this person said, B Simone's walk is performative. Shekinah is a naive people pleaser and doesn't have a strong level of self-worth. If she knew how valuable her energy was, she would extend her gifts to the right person who would value her. And I agree wholeheartedly, because that's what this whole episode showed. Like, it just showed that. And you can tell B Simone is one of those friends that when you need her, she's busy.
Yeah.
She's not there. Like you said, she's a selfish friend. But when you need Shekinah is always there, because that's her personality.
And I'm sure that if B Simone had a man, Shekinah would be thrown to the back burner.
Exactly. Like, she would be bottom of barrel, bitch. Like, you would forget who she is. And, you know, Shekinah's even admitted to that. Like, when she has a man, she's kind of like, you know, because she tends to give a lot to people. Like the comment said, she's a people pleaser. So I'm sure, and she's in a relationship, the same thing that she was giving B Simone,
right,
she's giving that man now, and it's not going to be Simone anymore. So for B to be fucking jealous of that is outrageous at your grown ass age. It's kind of like, because I'm sure if you had a man, you was paying for niggas. You was a sugar mama, boo, while your friend was struggling. So would you be around that much if you had a man?
I don't know, because right now she's in her celibate stage. So again, I think that goes back to her describing her selfishness. Like, just because you want to be alone right now and you don't want to see people, I don't think it's fair for you to, I guess it's normal to be jealous, but to feel, I guess,
replaced.
That's
how she
spoke
about it.
You got to work on that. You know, I'm not saying that you're not wrong for feeling like that. That just says a lot about B Simone. But I think that's something you got to work on, because we're only getting older as people. And it's like, what are you going to do when you're like 40, 50? You don't be like Natalie Nunn outside fucking trying to get yes men. Like, I don't get it. Like, what are you going to do? Because eventually, like, you know, I don't know.
That's what it's giving. Shekinah is her yes man.
And it's funny because they talked about how, B Simone's like, I don't like yes men. I actually like, you know, when you tell me about myself and we can have these uncomfortable conversations. And I thought that was funny, because I'm like, you don't like yes men, but Shekinah saying yes just nicer.
Yeah, and she's even saying whatever you say. And B Simone said that she likes that about Shekinah. She likes that she's like, yeah, whatever you say. She doesn't like when people go back and forth with her. She literally said that too on the episode. So how are you going to say in the same breath that you don't like yes men, and you also said, I don't like people go back and forth with me?
Yeah.
You like when Shekinah says whatever you say. You know, it's weird. It really is weird. And yeah, she might just be like a Natalie Nunn, just wanting yes men around her.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's looking like. That's really what it's looking like. Because what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you're older? Like, and I feel like she's on that path to starting to think about those things. But if she can understand when Shekinah takes a drink, because they talk about that with her sobriety, that Shekinah's like, I'm still drinking. Like, I know you're sober, you're on your path, but I will still get a drink if I want to. And B Simone's like, yeah, have that drink for me. Have that shot for me, girl. But you can understand that with the drink, but you can understand that with her love life. It's weird. And I feel like she's the type of friend that you just run away from. Away from.
I mean,
because she didn't want to see Shekinah doing good.
That also is something weird. Like, you were jealous of her success, and then you was like, how can we do it together? You mean, how can you take a percentage of her profits? Right? Because when
Clock it.
When B Simone is talking about, you know, women empowerment and giving people, she wants people who, you know, want to fulfill her dreams, but she also doesn't mind that if somebody wants their own podcast, but she just wants it to know straight up. Let's be real, girl. As business people, at the end of the day, in reality, if you want to really talk business, no emotions attached, like, and this is why I say some things are just not meant to be aired out. Like if you as a business person, you're going to want people there to support your vision. Mm-hmm. Don't say, yeah, I'm going to give you the thing for a year. And then no, at that point, it's just, okay, you're going to invest your money, right? Like you want people to believe in your dream, which is 100% that duh. Who wouldn't, right? Like that's what your group is about. But you got to understand that that's not bought. You build that. But you stepping on other people, constantly trying to take advantage of people, you're never going to build that, because clearly your business system and the environment that you have is not something that people clearly want to be a part of. Because if you've fallen out with this many people, if you're talking about how you can't find someone consistent, that says a lot about the environment that you create. And I just feel like, again, you were mad that Shekinah was getting her opportunities elsewhere, but the reason why you want her there is, let's be real, you're a part of the check. Like she's, you know what I mean? Like if Shekinah gets picked up under your business, you're going to take a percentage. No one just gives handouts. Like, you know what I mean? So I just feel like, again, it sounds pretty, but when you think about, take the emotions out of it and you look at it logistically, you just want a percentage. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. But this goes back to, again, her self-centeredness, her like narcissistic ways, like her ego. But it's like, even her, it's like, you didn't do it with me though. You didn't do it with me. It's like, you want to be in charge of Shekinah.
Yeah.
On top of the profit, right, percentage. But it's going back to that same thing. Like you want to maintain that power dynamic of Shekinah is beneath you and you are above her and she needs you. She needs you. And I feel like that's what it's going back to with that egocentric narcissism thing that she has going on. That's why you wanted Shekinah to work with you. You don't give a fuck about none of that, because when Shekinah was struggling, car repoed on Medicaid, single mom,
you didn't even think about it.
You did not care. But when she was getting opportunities outside of you, it became a problem because you want Shekinah to need you, because you love that she just only uplifts you and feeds love into you and just does everything for you. You feel like she revolves around you. That's why you get mad that she has a boyfriend and she has her own fucking life. Like, what are we not seeing here? Are we all dumb? Like, that's literally what it is with B Simone. And this is why I'm like, she may just become a Natalie Nunn just wanting yes men around her, because it's not given. It's not giving. It's not. And I feel like that's just, I don't know if she's going to change that. I don't know if that's something you change. Like, I just don't know. Do you think people are born narcissistic?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're born that way, how can you change that?
I don't think you can change those things. I think you can maneuver and cope with those behaviors or tendencies. I don't think you could ever change the way you're wired to be. I just think that you understand, and being aware and understanding other ways of communication can be a guidance to keep that under control in a sense. But I don't know necessarily. You can't, changing and something like that is, I don't know. But there is a way to cope.
No, she need to learn how to cope, because I don't know.
That or embrace the full bad guy. Because I feel like B Simone's not a good person and she tries to be this holier than thou person. And if you just embraced it like Natalie Nunn and just be the bad guy, then at least, you know.
would feel free.
Yeah.
Like, set yourself free, girl. Yeah. You trying to be this person and it's just, I don't even know if it's who you really are.
It feels very disingenuous.
Yeah, like it just feels like that's not even who you are for real. You don't even know who you are is what it feels like. Yeah. And that's why you're on this whole body spiritual cleanse. You don't even know yourself.
Yeah, well, that's, like I said, that goes back to the origins of her career. She's been nothing but a grifter. She's built her career off of being controversial, to just do things to rile people up, to piss people off for like 2.5 years. And then, you know, how many fallouts has she had? Then she did she maneuvered towards the religious, and then she did the Jackie O thing, like anything for money and something that'll get attention, but never really something that was genuine, you know, who she really was. So now that she's, I don't know, I don't think she really knew.
I don't think did she ever apologize for the whole Jackie O thing, like on her close friends? I don't know if she issued an apology, maybe like on social media or whatever the case is. I'm not sure. But from what I know now, I don't know if she apologized, but I just think that shit, if you could do something like that, like, I don't know. I don't know. Without an immediate apology, like, I don't know.
I guess this is a lesson at the end of the day, guys. Like, honestly, you see how much money she be throwing out, picking up, throwing out. Like, talking about how she went from making $1 million to a month to 10,000 the next month. That's the thing. Like, if you're, no matter how much money you're making, you still seems like she's living paycheck to paycheck because she's here because of the paycheck. She's here because she got to promote this shit because now she's in the hole. So it's like, it goes to show you money don't buy you everything.
Right.
You have to know what to do with that money.
Right.
Be smart.
Right.
You know, and that's pretty much it. And I think God's teaching her that lesson, many lessons, to be honest, because she hasn't been a good person. And that's probably why.
Right.
She keeps ending up in those situations because God will continue to teach you those lessons until you learn them.
Right.
You keep asking yourself, why does this keep happening to me? You got to really look at yourself in the mirror and understand why, because usually it's because of you. It's not because of a situation. You know what I mean? You allow certain things to get there. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so overall, that's pretty much my take on this whole episode. I think that looking back on the episode from before, I think that I was way nicer this episode around because I can acknowledge that she is on a journey to, you know, growing. I can acknowledge that because I can definitely see it. However, there are a lot of discrepancies within that video. So it's like, I'm going to point those out as well. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I'm actually happy that we finally got to freaking talk about this because listen, I've been wanting to vent about it, but the problem is we can't talk about this shit until we're here because then we be dropping some gems and I'll be like, damn, that should have been on camera. Like, you know what I mean? So it feels really good to finally let this all out.
Yeah, I know, because we were like not talking about it. No. It was like, we got to save it for the podcast. The way out. And I just want to emphasize again and reiterate that when we spoke about B Simone, y'all was really fucking walling on us. Now look at the internet.
Yeah, I was surprised. Her comments, I thought they were going to be all her supporters, but they were like criticizing her, which I was surprised
literally
about.
Even on her whole YouTube channel, like they were all criticizing her. Like there were some people that, you know, were still like her devout, faithful followers, like, oh, we love her on this journey, whatever. But then there were a lot that were actually like seeing through the bullshit. And I just think it's so interesting that now you guys are seeing through the bullshit. Now these old clips are resurfacing where you're seeing through the bullshit. And I'm like, weren't we trying to say this a year? Wasn't we trying to say this a year ago?
Yo.
Oh, okay. But we were haters.
But we
were
knew
this. We were that.
We knew that though. And
right.
that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, you know, we're here to do our job, and our job is to criticize people, what we see. And if you don't like it, then
and people criticize us like all the time.
Yeah, like
every day.
Like we're broken in the basement. So if that's what you want to believe, by all means, baby. We're not here. Listen, we have y'all, people that show up every single week to support us. And man, first of all, I want to talk about, and this is going off the B Simone thing, I really appreciate y'all coming back and welcoming us with open arms on our first episode back.
No, for real.
Y'all were so beautiful. I really love it. I love our community. You guys are awesome. So I'd like to say, again, y'all wasn't the ones hating. It was really B Simone's people.
It was really like new people coming in that didn't know who we were. And this was still like the beginning of our podcast.
Yeah, and it goes to show, like at the end of the day, like, you know, what kind of people we want in our community versus those type of people.
Right.
Like, I don't care what type of shit. If our people's, like, if everybody talking shit about us, don't reciprocate that energy. At the end of the day, we respect here. We're adults. We're fucking grown. We don't do that childish internet shit. So.
Right, exactly.
So anyways, I got off track. Thank you guys for supporting us. The comments were beautiful. The welcome back messages were awesome. The love, I felt it in the comments. We both felt it in the comments. We were talking about it offline. It was beautiful. So thank you. The petty posse, the petty crash outs. Y'all are the freaking best.
Shout out to the petty crash outs. Y'all showed so much love. Like, it was like overwhelming love where I was like, wow, this is so warming to my heart. It was so funny because Jessie had posted it on her story, a screenshot of her text messages of us talking about how we were feeling so loved by you guys. And, you know, you blocked out the name you had me as.
Yeah, exactly.
And somebody reached out via DM talking about, we want to see what Jessie has you saved as. And I'm like, yo, y'all are really wildin'.
Y'all want a love story so bad.
Oh, dude, y'all want a love story so bad. Like, calm it down.
Maybe one day.
Who knows? I don't know. But I did want to add one more thing before we left because I forgot to touch on this. B Simone in the episode at some point does mention how, you know, she's not broke. like, don't get it twisted. She got money. But it's like, you don't have to say that because obviously you are looking at your finances from a different lens. You're not looking at your finances from someone that works a 9 to 5 or someone that's in the working class. So to you, as the class that you're in, that probably feels a little broke, sis.
Right.
Probably feels a little broke to you.
But
and that's okay. We know that, okay, you're not broke compared to like someone that's working class or 9 to 5er. But for you and your status and your ranking and your tax bracket, you're a little broke, sis. And it's okay to admit that.
And I feel, but like, I feel like her saying
low in
that,
funds.
Her saying that though is again just out of touch because at the end of the day, whether you're broke or not, no one needs to know that, one. And two, we know as working people, we know you're not broke. You know why?
You didn't have to tell us that.
You know why? Because you have a business you can liquefy.
Right.
You have the liquidity. You said, oh, I'm always used to having liquidity. Girl, the bag that you wear, the shoes that you have is liquidity. You can sell all that. But the studio, look at where you're sitting.
You won't.
No,
That's the thing.
Look at where you are sitting. Look at the background of that fucking place. We know you are not broke, my love.
We know. Like, you did not have to
It's like a flex because she feels so insecure about her funds.
Exactly.
Miss Natalie Nunn.
Exactly. Because now you may not be able to keep up with someone that, you know, within your circle that you know got more money than you.
Right.
And because you're surrounded by that, of course you're going to feel insecure, right? From your perspective of where you're at in your class, in your status, right? But we really didn't need to know that because the people that are watching you are not like you.
And we're not even thinking like that.
Like, majority of the people that are watching you are not thinking like that, don't even have the means to think like that because they're not sitting where you're sitting.
Thank you.
So, like, we didn't really need to know that, but you can tell she said it for her own sense of security.
And compensate.
I'm like,
going back to, again, what she's done many times
and
before.
she's still doing it.
Correct.
So I'm just like, oh no.
Old habits die hard, baby.
They do. So I'm just like, girl, no, I really don't know. But yeah, I mean, I thought I'd just add that because, girl,
yeah, so
we didn't know that.
Let us know what you guys think about this episode in the comments below. Let us know if we missed anything, if y'all have an opinion on B Simone, if you even give a fuck, like, you know what I mean? Because she is just so annoying. So I get it if you don't care about her growth, whatever. Yeah, we have anything else to say?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram. That's JESSI.Strange. And where can they find you, Miss Tiana Law?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Randomania1. You guys can find us on Instagram at
The Petty Headquarters.
You guys can find us on YouTube at
The Petty Headquarters.
We're available on all podcast platforms at The Petty Headquarters. We release episodes weekly. So definitely tune in, like this episode, share, rate us on podcast platforms. Leave a review on Spotify. Apple you leave a review. Spotify you just rate, but whatever, rate us on the podcast, share this with your friends. We really appreciate the support. And with that being said, this was your weekly dose of mess.